Hello and welcome back. So when it comes to coding your websites with HTML or CSS, you need what is known as a text editor to type all that code into. Now, there's a lot of different types of text editors from which to choose from, and they all have different types of functionality and features, and a lot of them are free. So I'm going to share with you 3 of my favorite text editors and the one that we're going to use for this particular project. So the first one is called Sublime Text. So you can download this for Mac and Windows, and it is free. However, they do have an option to purchase it, and you just have to be aware that this is a limited license. So you can basically evaluate this software for free, and then you have to purchase a license if you want to continue to use it. Now, I don't personally use Sublime Text, so I don't know how long you can get it for free, and they don't really say. But a lot of developers do like to use Sublime Text, so you may want to look into it to see if it's something that may be more useful to you versus some of the other text editors we're going to go over. So it is $80 if you do want to purchase it. So the next one is 100% free. So if you go to atom.io, you can download the text editor, and it's called, well, Atom. And for Sublime Text, here's the link for that one, sublimetext.com. So again, it's 100% free. You can download it for Mac or Windows. Now, the one we're going to use throughout this project, or at least the one that I like to use, is called Brackets. And you can download this at brackets.io. It's also available for Windows and Mac users. So at least for this project, go ahead and download this particular text editor so you can see exactly what I'm typing as we go throughout the different tutorials for the project. So download, install it. Once you get it open, it's going to look like this. So one of the first things we need to do is we need to add our folder of files that we downloaded. So let's go ahead and do that. Once you download that file from the previous lesson, you just need to unzip that file and then locate that particular file, and you're going to see 3 files inside of it. So once you have that available, go ahead and click open, and then all that code will be available through this left panel as well as the image. Now again, these 2 files here are just for reference. We do want to learn how to code from scratch, otherwise you're not going to really learn how to code with HTML and CSS. So just use these for reference. So before we get into learning more about HTML and CSS and actually coding, we're going to just go over some of the features of our text editor so we're familiar with it and know where to access what we need when we need it. Now, one of the cool things about this text editor, and some others as well, is this option to have a live preview as you're coding over here on the left. So if I click on this little button here, and you can go ahead and do this as well, go ahead and click on it. It's going to open up a new browser window to show you what the web page looks like as you're coding the site. So you can see if it's coming out the way you want it. If not, then you know you need to make adjustments to your code. Now, this only works if you have the Chrome browser installed. So I highly recommend installing Chrome because you're going to need to use it as a web developer because it does have a lot of other features that other browsers do not have. And there's also additional tools, extensions, plugins, whatever you want to call it, for Chrome as well that are designed for web developers. So you definitely need to install Chrome in order to code. You don't really need it, but you can't get this live preview without it and other tools and features as well. So I do recommend using this over any of the other browsers. So if I come over here and I start typing right here, we can see it updating live over here in the browser. So that's a very, very handy feature to have as you're coding. Now, just below that, we have another little icon here, and this is our extension manager, which will give you options to install plugins or even themes, and the plugins will allow you to enhance the functionality of the brackets text editor. And you can change the colors of the interface based on the theme that you select. And we're actually going to install one of these plugins because there's one very important plugin that I think everybody should be using, and that's an auto save option. So go ahead and type in auto save, and we can see auto save every edit right here. Go ahead and click install, and it doesn't take very long for it to download and install. And then you can see all your installed plugins right here with this tab. Now, there are a lot of features and tools and plugins available to add to your text editor. And I would typically stick with something that is newer. I wouldn't go back to 2013 unless I know it's being supported by that particular developer. This one right here is version 1, so they have obviously not updated this particular plugin. It may or may not work with this current version of brackets. So I'll leave it up to you to go through those and see if there's anything in there that you can benefit from. At this time, you probably really don't know. So autosave is really all that you need. And we also need to make sure that autosave is enabled by going up to File, and then make sure there's a check mark next to Enable Autosave. All right, so one last thing I want to point out is a lot of times you're going to be working with both your HTML and CSS files, and you may need to go back and forth between the two files. So you would click on one and then click on the other when you need it. But the cool thing is you can actually split your screen so you can see both of them side by side. And you can do that by coming up to this icon and selecting vertical or horizontal split. I personally like vertical split. And then if I click on a different file versus what's over here on the left, I will get that file loaded up on this side, and it just makes it easier to see the code side by side versus going back and forth. For now, we'll just go ahead and keep it set up on no split, and then we'll go over some other features of the text editor as we're doing our coding for this particular project. Okay, now that we have our text editor set up, let's go ahead and get started with learning more about HTML and CSS and learn what they are, what they're not, and why they're easier to learn and code with than you may think at this point in time. So if you're ready, let's do it.